Hello everyone, I'm Paul and welcome to Gelin Outdoors. Today I'm going to be replacing this mechanical hand crank winch that I have that I use on my logging utility trailer with a new electric winch. Let's go down and unbox the new electric winch, take a look at it, and then get it installed. So follow me down. So what I bought is a Champion ATV winch, has a 3,000 pound rating, and the winch that I have currently on the trailer has a 2,500 pound rating. The reason why I bought this winch here is not for the brand or anything like that, it has nothing to do with it. I bought this solely on price. It retailed for $260 Canadian plus tax. There was an immediate discount of $50, so it brought it down to $210. And then I had a bunch of bonus bucks saved up. So bottom line, it cost me $100 to take out the door, so not too bad of a value. So let's get this thing opened up and take a look at all the parts in there. This has a 2-year warranty on it, and the reason why I decided to go with an electric winch instead of the hand crank was that I can stay on my ATV when I'm dumping loads rather than have to get off every time to hand crank the load that's in the trailer. Just makes life a little easier. And the other thing too is that I would think that this is going to be much quicker as far as hand cranking it, so it also will help speed up the dump time, which is not a big deal, but it's every little bit of production does help. I'll get that cover off. So let's take a look at what we've got inside. Just going to close my knife up here. Let's take a look at what we've got inside the box. So we've got do not return. Call them if there's any issues. So no big deal. Oh, we got the hardware. I was a little bit worried that there wouldn't be any hardware. So we've got hardware. There's a channel plate, mounting plate, and underneath that we've got the fair lead. So that's basically a guide for your wires or your cable for the winch to go through. We've got a hook to go at the end. There's a solenoid, and looks like we've got a switch here, and it has a rocker switch. I can open up this stuff here in a minute. We have all the wire leads. Go to the battery and back to the winch. And the big heavy part, we've got the winch itself, and there's also user manual and a little tag that goes on the end of the hook. So we can just open up the winch here, take a little bit better look at it. Actually, I like it. It's a little smaller than I thought it would be, but in this case, for what my application, smaller is better. It's got more power and it's pretty small, so it will be nice and easy to mount. So I'm not going to bother opening the wires yet. I can show you the little rocker switch a little bit closer. It's got plenty of cable, which is great. Oh, I think they got zip ties to tie it all up. So it's nice. It's got everything here that I'm going to need to do the full installation. Let's take a look at the solenoid. Everything seems to be well packaged, which is always good when you buy something new. So there's our solenoid, and it has the mounting bracket on the back here, so everything's there. And then the fair lead, that's to guide the ATV cable. And this one is not synthetic, it's a galvanized steel cable. So anyways, there's the fair lead. Guide this cable here through where it's got to go. And again, we just have the mounting plate. So there we go. So it's nice. It feels like a pretty heavy, solid piece of steel. So that's basically it for the unboxing of it. The next part, what I'm going to do is get the unit all installed. So let's go off and get the installation done. Okay guys, what I've done is I've laid out some tools that I'm going to use for this job, and you can see here on the workbench I've got things from paint, a drill, hammer. I'm not going to say every tool here, but you can see, and I've also have each component. So to get started, I'm going to take the fair lead and the mounting channel, and I'm going to put them together with a couple of bolts. So we'll just put that in here. We'll slide this through. Coming closer if you can see a little better. Just 2 bolts and nut and lock washers. So we'll put this in. It's kind of funny, they gave me a lock washer and a nylon nut, a lock nut, so it's definitely not going to fall off. That's the first one. What I do with the other one here? Got this one here. No, not that one. Oh, this one here. So we'll just put this in here. Same thing here, just put the washer, the nut, and I'll tighten that up. I'm going to use 16 millimeter and open wrench and a 16 mil socket, and that's basically a 5/8 would be the equivalent. So we'll just tighten it up. Tighten up the other side. One thing to note, that's something very coincidental happened as I started working on this. And if you want to hear my coincidental story, you'll have to stick around to the end of the video and I'll tell you all about the little story. So hopefully you hang around for that. Okay, so we've got this all tightened up. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over to where the old winch is, and we're going to install this. I'm going to grab a couple tools. Now what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've removed the bolts for the current winch. So I just have to lift it off. And this is my mounting plate here. So if you are installing a winch, you have to have your own mounting plate, so you may have to order one. Luckily for me, I already have one that's here, so I'm going to mount it on here. I'm going to line it up. I've already made some dots where the holes are. And the one thing is I need to bring one hole up higher here, so I'm just going to punch it in the center. Make sure I get in the right place. So the mounting bracket here did not have this hole. I went and drilled it, and then I repainted everything. I had to open the holes a little bit bigger for mounting the bolts that I want to put in here. I want to use 4, so the reason why I painted it is just to prevent it from rusting. So we'll get all drilled up. Look at a bit. We'll just start with a small bit and then I'll work up in size as far as the bits go. Now I don't need the plate on here, I just need it to mark the one last hole that I didn't put in. So I'll just drill them down. Okay guys, that's the holes are all drilled there. Just clean off this little bit of a mess here. A little bit on the floor on the trailer here. I don't need all these little metal shavings. Aside there. So now we've got the holes all drilled up. Just going to wipe up the oil. I'm going to put a little paint. I'll be right back and I'll get some paint here. I like to put a little paint where I drilled the holes to keep it again from rusting. I'm just using a high performance rust enamel paint. This is fast dry paint, so it takes about 10 minutes or so. Okay guys, it's been about 10 minutes. I've let the paint dry here, so I'm going to put the channel plate onto the mounting plate and get it all bolted up. Okay guys, the next thing to do is to mount the winch onto the plate here. There's 4 holes, so 4 bolts will be inserted. I'm going to pass the cable here through the fair lead first. And I'm just going to sit the winch up on the top. And I'm going to put, from underneath, I'm going to put 4 bolts. The bolts will be a bolt, a lock nut, a lock washer, and the bolt itself. I'll feed it up from underneath. You can see here. Get that one started. The second one here. One here. And we got the last one. Lock washer, flat washer, and then into the inserted up here. So I'll just tighten them up. Okay, so the winch is mounted on. I'm going to pass the line up through here on the boom. I'm going to remove the old winch. I'll put the old winch just aside. Okay guys, this is the hook that came, the clevis hook that came with the winch, and it's too small, so I ended up purchasing a much larger one. And the strap here that came with the winch, I just put it onto this hook. So let's bring the line through the fair lead. Put the hooks down there. So I'll pull the line. It's a free spool winch, so I can just pull it right through. Make sure that I put on free spooling. Pass it up and over the boom, down and through, and I can just feed it. It's got a little cotter pin here to pull out, and we'll put the clevis hook into the loop here. As you see, actually I'll do it from this side here. Put the cotter pin back in and I'll bend it around. So I'll put it in there and I'll just bend the cotter pin. Okay, so then I just have to hook this on. Actually, I don't really need this here on there, so I won't be using the smaller hook. Okay, so that's basically as far as the winch and the cable goes. So the next thing is to put on the wire leads. I've got 2 wires here that go onto the back. If you look closer here, you can see that it's yellow. And on this side here, you can see the blue. And basically it comes with a yellow and blue, so you just connect color coded. So I'm just going to take off the nut here. I'll try not to drop anything. The pieces are so small. There's 2 washers here, so you're going to put the eyelet here between the 2. Got one on there. Grab the second washer. And then put the nut. Tighten it a little bit by hand. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side for the blue one. Just going to get the cable ready here. It has a little protective boot. You can just slip it down. And I'll do this here. Tiny little copper washers. You heard there, I just dropped one of the nuts. So I'll just put that back on there. Good thing it didn't go too far. So I'll put the eyelet there, put the washer, put the nut. And for right now, I'm just going to leave it loose. And the next thing I'm going to get is I'm going to get some wire loom. Now the wire loom did not come with the winch, something you have to get separately. And we can just pass the wire into it. It's going to feed it all the way through. I'll get the blue one in, and then I'll do the yellow. Whoop. It's a little hard on the fingers, but it goes quicker this way. The yellow wire should go in a little easier than the blue here, since it's the first wire to go in. So we'll bring it to about there, and I'll do the yellow wire. It just splits here in half. So I'll just feed in the yellow. As I mentioned, it goes in a lot quicker than the blue one did. So now I've got basically just have to cut it here. It's got a knife. So I'm just going to pull it up a little bit tighter up there. And I'm just going to cut it a little bit short. And I'll just put the heads into the top. And that's on there. Now next thing I'm going to do is just use some zip ties. And I'm going to pass the zip ties around the post of the winch bracket. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a cleaner look. And then I'll bring it down this way as well. And I'm going to put one more here. And the last one here should reach around. And the next thing I'm going to do is just going to cut off the excessive piece of strap. We don't need that. Now I try to cut it nice and tight against here so that I don't cut myself against the little piece that sticks out there. So. All right, so basically that's the first part of the install. We've got everything rigged up on the trailer. The next part is to do the wiring on the ATV, and then the final part will be to connect the ATV to the winch here on the trailer. Hey guys, so that brings us to the end of this video. I really appreciate you watching. Once again, there's going to be a part 2 to finish off this installation of the winch. So once again, thanks for watching. If you have not subscribed, please do so by hitting the subscribe button down below. And thanks for watching again, once again, and we'll see you next time on Gel and Outdoors.